You already know what I'm about to describe. You swore you'd never date somebody like that again. You did. You said this was the last time I procrastinate on something so important. It wasn't. You promised yourself you'd stop reacting in anger, and then someone pushed the right button, and you watch yourself do the exact same thing, again, like a passenger in your own body. We call this a bad habit, a personality flaw, a lack of willpower. But over 2,500 years ago, in the forests of northern India, a man looked at this exact cycle and said, "This is not a flaw, this is a machine, and I can show you exactly how it works." In Buddhism, there's a teaching called Paticcasamuppada, dependent origination. It sounds academic, but it's actually the most brutal diagnosis of human behavior ever written. It says that your suffering is not random, it's a chain, and every link of that chain is connected to the one before it. Here's how the chain works in your daily life, stripped of all the jargon. Something happens. Your boss sends a passive-aggressive email. Your ex posts a photo with someone new. A stranger says something dismissive to you. That's contact, the raw event. It's neutral. It's just data entering your senses. But within a fraction of a second, before you're even consciously aware of it, your mind has already assigned a feeling to that data. Pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral. The Buddha called this Vedana. It's not the event that traps you. It's the feeling your mind silently attaches to the event. And here's where the trap closes. The moment that feeling arises, your mind does something automatic. If the feeling is unpleasant, it generates aversion, anger, defensiveness, the urge to fight or run. If the feeling is pleasant, it generates craving, the desperate need to hold on to it, to get more of it. The Buddha called this Tangha, and Tangha is the engine of every pattern you've ever been stuck in. You didn't choose to feel hurt by that email. The feeling arose on its own. But in that fraction of a second, your mind reached out, grabbed the feeling, and built an entire story around it. They didn't respect me. They never respected me. I need to prove myself. I need to fight back. And now, you're not responding to an email anymore. You're responding to a narrative your own mind wrote in a quarter of a second. And that narrative is the exact same one it wrote last time, and the time before that, and every time this button has ever been pushed. That is the loop. Contact, feeling, craving, story, reaction. And then the reaction creates a new contact, which creates a new feeling, and the wheel keeps spinning. You're not repeating your patterns because you are weak. You are repeating them because you are running software that was installed before you were old enough to choose it. And I wish I could tell you I figured this out by reading about it. For most of my life, I ran a very specific, deeply painful loop. Growing up in the West, and even now, I experience a reoccurring trigger. I'll be walking through a suburban neighborhood or stepping into a nice store, and I'll notice the shift. The prolonged stares, a woman suddenly pulling her purse closer as I walk past, a security guard mirroring my footsteps. For years, my mind ran that exact same software every single time. Contact, the stare, feeling, the humiliation and anger. The story my mind instantly built was they think I'm a threat. I need to prove to them that I belong here. I could literally feel the machine turn in my body. My jaw would lock. My chest would tighten. I would spend the rest of the day angry, replaying that interaction in my head. I was letting a stranger's ignorance completely dictate my inner peace. But then, I learned how to see the gap. One day it happened again. I felt the heart rise in my chest. I felt the software loading. But this time, I watched it happen. And I deliberately did the exact opposite of what the pattern demanded. My pattern said, shrink to make them comfortable, or explode to fight back. Instead, I just took a breath. I physically dropped my shoulders. I unclenched my hands. I kept walking at my exact pace. I didn't excuse their ignorance, but I absolutely refused to let it become my suffering. I broke the loop, and for the first time, I kept my power. The chain didn't break because I sat still or waited for it to pass. It broke because I felt the machine turn on. And for the first time in my life, I deliberately did the opposite of what it told me to do. Now, if you watched my other videos, you might be expecting me to tell you to sit with the feeling, observe it, let it pass. And that's real. That's the foundation. But patterns aren't just thoughts. Patterns live in your body. They're physical. And breaking a physical loop requires a physical act. The Buddha taught that every craving, every tanha, creates a physical sensation before it creates a thought. When someone disrespects you, before the angry story starts playing in your head, your jaw tightens, your shoulders rise, your hands close. Your body is loading the software before your mind even opens the file. That physical sensation is the gap. That is the fraction of a second where the chain is still loose, where the link between feeling and reaction hasn't fully locked yet. And the ancient practice is not to sit there and watch it. The practice is to deliberately, physically, do the exact opposite of what the sensation is demanding. Your pattern says fight. You go quiet. Not because you're suppressing it, because you're choosing a response that the machine did not write for you. Your pattern says run. You stay in the room. Your pattern says reach for the phone. Numb yourself. Check out. You put the phone in another room and you sit with the discomfort in your chest until your body realizes that the urgency it invented is not actually real. This is not willpower. Willpower is forcing yourself to do the right thing while your entire body is screaming at you. This is something different. This is catching the machine in the act of turning on and choosing to run a different program. The craving doesn't disappear, but for the first time, you are the one holding the remote. Every time you catch the pattern and choose differently, the loop gets weaker. Not because you defeated it, because you starved it. You refused to give it the reaction it needed to keep spinning. And eventually, the wheel that controlled your life starts to feel like something you can reach out and stop with one hand. Breaking the loop doesn't mean you stop feeling things. You still feel the sting when someone hurts you. You still feel the pull when the old craving shows up. But now, when the sensation hits, you feel something new underneath it. You feel your jaw start to tighten and your hands start to close. And instead of letting the machine take over, you think, I know this one. I've run this program before, and I'm choosing a different ending. You are not your patterns. You're not the machine that runs them. You are the one who can feel it turn on, and for the first time, reach over and flip the switch. The moment you take your hand off, it has no choice but to stop. We talked about how to break the patterns of your past. But what about the anxiety of your future? Next week, we're looking at the disease of overthinking and the absolute exhaustion of trying to control a universe that refuses to stand still. Hit subscribe so you won't miss it. We're walking on this path together. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.